Because we do have breaking news. It's regarding NVIDIA. We'll get to John Fortt now, who can fill us in with more. John, what do we know?
Scott Wapner, thank you. I am here at NVIDIA headquarters in Santa Clara with the CEO of the world's most valuable company and the CEO and president of the world's most valuable private company, Jensen Huang of NVIDIA, Sam Altman, and Greg Brockman of OpenAI. So let's dive right in to the news. Jensen, NVIDIA is making a $100 billion investment in OpenAI and working together to build out, I think you're saying, 10 gigawatts of capacity over several years. The investment's going to come with the gigawatts, one at a time. You're telling me, you guys, as quickly as you guys can get it done. Jensen, first of all, set the stage. Why?
This is the biggest AI infrastructure project in history. This is the largest computing project in history. Well, the reason for that is because computing demand is going through the roof for OpenAI. You know, ChatGPT is the single most revolutionary AI project in history. It's being used everywhere, every industry, every country. Every person practically that I know uses ChatGPT. The computing demand is going through the roof. And so this partnership is about building an AI infrastructure that enables AI to go from the labs into the world. This is about the AI industrial revolution arriving. Yeah. It's a very big deal.
$100 billion, a lot of money. Sam, Greg, you guys are used to dealing with a lot of money in big projects. So Sam, I think it was just 8 months and a day ago, the initial Stargate announcement talking about the overall move that OpenAI is making in building out this capacity. Where does this fit?
So as Jensen said, building this infrastructure is critical to everything we want to do. Without doing this, we cannot deliver the services people want. We can't keep making better models. And now that we really see what's on the near-term horizon of how good the models are getting, the new use cases that are being enabled, what people want to do, this is like the fuel that we need to drive improvement, to drive better models, to drive revenue, everything. So this is helping us get to a world, along with our partners at Stargate, Microsoft, Oracle, where we can build out increasing amounts of infrastructure to deliver on what the world is demanding out of these services. There's like no partner but NVIDIA that could do this at this kind of scale, at this kind of speed. It's really like quite incredible. But this will expand on the Stargate ambitions and let us push further and further. We have found every step along the way that we did not quite set our sights big enough, given the market demand. So this will help us push towards that next level. The compute constraints that the whole industry has been, and our company in particular, have been terrible. We're so limited right now in the services we can offer. There's so much more demand than what we can do. And as we look forward another year or 2 years, if you have, let's say it takes 10 gigawatts of compute or 5 gigawatts of compute, you could choose one of two things. You could choose to cure cancer by having AI do a bunch of research, or you could choose to offer free education to everybody on Earth. No one wants to make that choice. And so increasingly as we see this, the answer is just much more capacity so that we can serve the massive needs and opportunity with this.
Greg, one way of measuring that demand is the number of users that OpenAI has. ChatGPT says somewhere between 700 and 800 million. How quickly are you growing? What's the technology that you guys need to bring to bear, from NVIDIA included, in order to satisfy that?
Yeah, so 700 million, growing extremely quickly. Like, I think that ChatGPT has grown from nothing to that scale, and it continues to grow faster than any product in history. And really, the reason we were able to make this breakthrough and serve it to the extent that we have is by leveraging NVIDIA's platform. Like, we've worked together very closely since Jensen actually hand-delivered a server to us back in 2016. And we were just doing some math earlier. I think that this deal is really for like 1 billion times more computational power than that initial server. And so we're able to actually create new breakthroughs, new models, to be able to actually solve problems like create cures for diseases, and to actually be able to empower every individual in business, because we'll be able to reach the next level of scale.
Jensen, step back for me. I mean, a few days, you're all over the place, literally. I mean, you're in the UK, I saw the white bow tie and all that, the tux.
You look very nice.
Yeah, you're here, it's very nice. But you're also doing a lot of investments. The Intel investment announced last week, quite a bit smaller than this one, but seems significant also because it's weaving NVIDIA technology in the PC and data center level in a way that perhaps it wasn't before. Where do these kinds of investments fit in? How do you think about the value of the ecosystem to NVIDIA?
The Intel partnership is about recognizing that accelerated computing and AI's day has arrived. Remember, general purpose computing was invented practically 60 years ago. And for the last 60 years, we've been following that basic blueprint, that basic architecture, to build the ecosystem, the computing ecosystem of the world. And so all of a sudden, accelerated computing's time has come, and we're fusing, if you will, the Intel architecture with the NVIDIA architecture to bring them into the world of accelerated computing and AI. So that's what that partnership's about. This partnership, this is, monumental in size. There's never been an engineering project, a technical project of this complexity and this scale ever. And it really just says that AI was in the early adopter phase in the labs, and finally it's breaking out into just about every single industry, every single use case we can imagine. It is very soon where every single word, every single interaction, every single image, video that we experience on, through computers will somehow have been reasoned through or referenced by or generated by AI. It's going to be touched by AI somehow. So all of our computing experiences throughout the day, everywhere, in every industry, will be powered by AI. This is the first 10 gigawatts. It sounds like an enormous undertaking, but there's no question that AI is transformational for every industry. But the important thing is the AI infrastructure will be everywhere, and it will power computing experiences for everyone every day. And it's going to be just everywhere.
Sam, it seems like the two most valuable companies in the world, NVIDIA at number one, over $4 trillion, about $4.25 trillion last time I checked today, Microsoft just under $4 trillion, are going to be major investors in OpenAI. How should we understand the governance, the influence that these companies have over OpenAI, where those lines are, and even, the investment size-wise, where that's going to net out?
We're thrilled to have them both as partners. They're passive investors. Our nonprofit and board are in control, but the ecosystem is really important to us. NVIDIA and Microsoft are two of our most critical partners and have been from the very beginning. And having them so aligned with our success is, I think, great for us. Hopefully, great for them too.
Greg, where does NVIDIA fit along with all of the other infrastructure providers? Oracle, you guys kind of touched Oracle and the stock went up, even though the name wasn't attached to it. When they reported earnings and their guidance, a lot of people were looking over at OpenAI. Where do these different technology infrastructure players fit in terms of importance in the amount of capacity that you need?
Well, look, the project that we're trying to do is something that, as Jensen was saying, is bigger than any infrastructure build-out that's ever been done. It's much larger than the Apollo program, for example. And so we're going as big as we can with the biggest partners in the world. NVIDIA is a core strategic partner for our build-out. There's just no one who could build as fast or as big as they are going to be able to accelerate us to be able to do. We are working together with Oracle to do a lot of the infrastructure builds with SoftBank and Stargate to be able to actually do a bunch of that work as well. We're starting to expand into just trying to figure out every single way that we can actually get this compute to the world. But there's really been no partner like Jensen, like NVIDIA, and it's just been a very, very special partnership for more than a decade now, and we're moving into a next phase together.
One of the things that's really important to say is that, and Sam and Greg hinted at it, this is additive. This project, 10 gigawatts of AI infrastructure, is additive to everything that has been announced and contracted. Remember, they've contracted huge amounts of capacity through Azure, through OCI, through CoreWeave. And all of that is powered by NVIDIA, and we're really delighted working with all of these partners. And that's going to continue to grow. This is additive, incremental on top of that, which just kind of puts it in perspective, the scale of AI computing that's needed for the world. The demand is just exponential.
To say anything different from what's already been included in the financials that you've given or the guidance that you've given. But this is an announcement that's breaking right here on CNBC. Has this been factored in to the numbers that you've given Wall Street up to this point?
This is additive to everything that we've spoken about so far. It's pretty incredible.
We're also talking about AI infrastructure for the world. One of the headlines last week had to do with China and how they're dealing or not dealing with NVIDIA. When you look at where this capacity is getting built out and the global use that it's going to have, how do you think about the way different regions, the way different countries are going to tap into that, and how that affects NVIDIA's competitiveness?
Well, President Trump was clear about this, and you've heard me say this before, that we want the world to be built on the American tech stack. And the American tech stack, the AI computing stack, includes chips, infrastructure, models, and applications. We have every reason to believe that the United States should lead in every single one of those layers. And in doing so, we want the world to be built on top of American chips, we want American infrastructure, American models, and for the world to integrate with American applications. And we had to diffuse this capability as fast as possible because the world is racing to bring AI out to the world. And so I think the need to build AI infrastructure all around the world, this is just beginning. Notice most of the infrastructure conversations we've been having are largely located in the United States. But we're going to see AI infrastructure built in Europe and in the southern parts of the world. You're going to be Southeast Asia. All over the world, we're going to be building AI infrastructure.
Sam, there was a DeepSeek moment several months ago. The market kind of freaked out about what this means for infrastructure, for capacity, for expense. What was the legacy of that? Given the moment that we're in right now, this $100 billion investment NVIDIA is making in you, clearly you see value in these chips, or you wouldn't need that kind of money for that kind of equipment. What does that mean? How has the way the conversation around AI and models has shifted, affected the way that you guys are looking at the build-out?
Two thoughts about this. First of all, I think most of the world still thinks of AI as what ChatGPT can do. It's a better version of web search, or it helps me, with some small tasks here and there. AI has moved an incredible distance. AI is now outperforming humans at the most difficult intellectual competitions we have. For the first time with GPT-5, you're starting to see scientists saying AI is like making novel discoveries, small ones, but real ones. And so I think there's this huge mismatch in the world of what most people think AI can do and what the frontier of AI can do. And so when DeepSeek came out, I think people had this brief freak out. I think maybe your stock went way down in one day, and people were just this is the end. People really want to predict the end of the compute scaling somehow. And then it turned out that people need a lot of AI, and they need a lot of the frontier AI. And so it is totally true that the cost per unit of intelligence will keep falling and falling and falling. And we think that's great. And we'll be able to offer services like ChatGPT, more of it, cheaper, the whole thing. But on the other side, the frontier of AI, the maximum intellectual capability, is going up and up. And that enables more and more use, and a lot of it. So there's this huge overhang that the world, I think, does not yet grasp of where the models already are today. And when you throw a lot of inference compute at them, what they can do for you, that is totally different than ChatGPT or generating an image or whatever. And so I think that was really missed in the DeepSeek moment, and why we want to do this. It's that the models are at this point actually quite capable for things far beyond what most people use them for in ChatGPT, and the world is just catching up with that. Second thing, we throw around these numbers, 10 gigawatts, 100 billion, and there's a few syllables here and there. We're all, it's like a Monday morning. We're all kind of low energy. We got a lot of stuff we got to go do and stressed about the day ahead. But
we've already had a pretty long day.
We did have a long day. But the magnitude.
This deal, yeah. I mean,
but
I flew out here not knowing exactly who I was talking to, and this came together. So yeah, thank you. But
for sure,
yeah.
Thanks for taking a flyer on that. But the magnitude of the scale of this project, 100 billion is a small dent in it. And the numbers are also they're missing the story of what this amount of infrastructure is capable of doing. 10 gigawatts of compute, again, easy to throw around numbers like that. But the amount of work it takes to build that out, the size and scale of these multi-square mile gigantic things, and the complexity at every level of the supply chain, and then what that amount of brain power, which does not exist today, can do already today. What it will do is the models get better. This is the real deal. This is the thing people have been waiting for. They talk about AI or when it's going to do this and when it's going to do that. The stuff that will come out of this super brain will be remarkable in a way I think we don't really know how to think about yet.
100 billion is a small dent. Now you sound like President Trump. And
One way to contextualize the scale of what we're talking about and the compute scarcity of the world that we're heading towards.
Yeah.
ChatGPT today, you talk to it, it gives you answers, but clearly you want an agent that's going to go do work for you proactively while you're asleep, be able to organize your calendar or go, try to work on projects for you.
Sure.
And so you really want every person to be able to have their own dedicated GPU. Right, so you're talking order of 10 billion GPUs we're going to need. This deal we're talking about, it's for millions of GPUs. Like we're still 3 orders of magnitude off of where we need to be. So we're doing our best to provide compute availability, but we're heading to this world where the whole economy is powered by compute, and it's going to be a compute scarce one.
so, Sam,
John, remember,
Yeah.
this new project that we're talking about, 10 gigawatts, or roughly 4 million, 5 million GPUs. That's approximately in one project what we shipped all year this year, okay? And twice as much as last year, twice as much as the year before that. And so that kind of puts it in perspective. This is a giant project.
and we don't yet know how many years to amortize that over, sort of, but it's...
Well, we just need OpenAI's, OpenAI is the fastest growing
see how
software
fast we
company
can
in
build.
history.
So about the infrastructure, we were talking about data centers, but I also want to talk to you about the edge. And I guess Sam or Greg, this could be either of you. Apple had their big launch of selling iPhones last week. A lot of people thought, oh, they're behind on AI. They're trying to push this idea that these phones, because the chips they have in them, are AI ready. And of course, they're talking to you guys. Are these part of the infrastructure that you need? What should the world understand about the role of the edge and of devices like this?
This is where there's this important idea, which is most of the world thinks about AI as ChatGPT, and yet AI capability has moved far beyond. So for the kind of chat with ChatGPT about most stuff, you will be able to do a lot of that on your phone, and we think that's great. We released an open source model called GPT OSS recently that can run on a laptop or a phone. And it's incredible to me what you can do on a device. It's gone way further than I thought. And we'd love to see a lot of that move to the edge. Curing cancer, like an AI that thinks really hard and cures cancer, that'll need the big data center. But for the sort of standard ChatGPT queries, we hope we can push a lot of that to the edge.
So what's the significance of these platforms, whether it's from Apple, whether it's from the likes of a Qualcomm, in being able to provide a standard platform for you guys, for other partners, for other application providers to build AI-driven applications on top of, which are going to drive some of this demand that we've been talking about here?
I think you need all of it, right? I think that no matter how much gets built, we are still going to be in this world of compute scarcity. And every time there's a new compute platform, new availability of this kind of computational power, that it's possible to design new algorithms, new methods, new models, new products that are able to deliver benefits to everyone. And so you should expect that you'll see this whole ecosystem of models from us and from everyone else that is able to take advantage of what's out there. It's a little bit like when the App Store first came out. Suddenly people started creating apps and filling that platform because there was this new availability, this new way of building. And I think we're heading towards a platform shift that's going to be much more significant than anything in history.
Another potential either roadblock or opportunity is talent, right? You got to have the right people to build this stuff, to design this stuff, et cetera. Immigration is a part of that. Jensen, there have been some moves, some announcements over the past few days about that. How does that position the U.S., maybe the H-1B issue and the extra charge on top of that? How does that position the U.S. in terms of competitiveness? What are your thoughts on where we need to go?
We want all the brightest minds to come to the United States. And remember, immigration is the foundation of the American dream. And we represent the American dream. And so I think immigration is really important to our company and it's really important to our nation's future. And I'm glad to see President Trump making the moves he's making.
What kind of policy needs do we have from your perspective at OpenAI?
We need to get the smartest people in the country and streamlining that process and also sort of aligning financial incentives seems good to me.
How far are we from yet another big announcement, right, about the capital needs and how you hope to fulfill those?
You should expect a lot from us in the coming months. There are 3 things that OpenAI has to do well. We've got to do great AI research. We have to build these products that people really want to use. And we have to figure out how to do this unprecedented infrastructure challenge and build out, which there's chips, there's power, there's buildings, there's a lot of pieces that go into that. And that latter category is going to be my big focus in the coming month, and we have very ambitious goals, so we'll have a lot to say.
Jensen, the next big catalyst that you see on the horizon? I mean, AI is what's driving so much of the market and the imagination right now of economies across the world.
Look, we saw in the last 5-10 years, AI move from generative to reasoning to now thinking models. Went from text to multimodal. It is very clear that there will be a persistent AI connected to every device to be everything that's out there. You know, it could be a persistent AI connected to the car, connected to smart glasses, connected to the phone, as you mentioned, connected to human or robots, and robots of all different sizes and shapes. And all of that is just beginning. None of it exists today, and yet everything's around the corner. That's how exciting this is.
Yep.
We're literally going to connect intelligence to every application, to every use case, to every device, and we're just at the beginning of that. That's the reason why we need such gigantic infrastructure, and this is the first 10 gigawatts. I assure you of that.
Well, I'm looking at the CNBC app, and there's NVIDIA stock right now. We can't see OpenAI stock yet, but call me when we can.
All right, I hope you're all doing great today. We have multiple pieces of NVIDIA news to cover. I'm going to cover the NVIDIA OpenAI news, but before I do that, I want to mention that NVIDIA and Abu Dhabi's Technology Innovation Institute have together launched a joint research lab in the UAE. This is the first NVIDIA AI technology facility in the Middle East. Researchers at the facility will be utilizing NVIDIA's AGX Jetson Thor chips in the development of AI robotics. As I've said many times in recent videos, I seriously think NVIDIA's physical AI business is being underestimated by most analysts, and I think there's a very real possibility that NVIDIA's physical AI business may eventually be larger than their current data center business. This news is yet another reminder that NVIDIA is actively establishing themselves as the underlying foundation of physical AI around the globe. Now let's talk about the NVIDIA OpenAI partnership. NVIDIA will invest up to $100 billion into OpenAI to deploy at least 10 gigawatts of NVIDIA systems. The first gigawatt of NVIDIA systems is set to be deployed in the second half of 2026 on NVIDIA's Vera Rubin platform. And as Jensen said, this is additive, meaning it's in addition to NVIDIA's previously announced guidance. Based on NVIDIA's press release, it appears that they will invest the $100 billion progressively as each gigawatt of NVIDIA systems is deployed. Jensen has said in the past that a single 1 gigawatt data center easily costs somewhere in the range of $50 to $60 billion to build, and that NVIDIA gets about $35 billion in revenue from each 1 gigawatt data center. And so it appears that 10 gigawatts of capacity would translate to somewhere in the range of $350 billion in additional revenue for NVIDIA over the coming years. This is a very important partnership with massive implications for NVIDIA. As I've said for a while now, I seriously think we are still in the early days of AI, and I genuinely think that NVIDIA still has a lot of runway ahead of it. Also, as a brief side note, I have repeatedly mentioned Iron in recent videos, and I seriously encourage you to research this company. I think there is substantial upside over the next 1 to 2 years. I will be completely honest with you. On a percentage basis, Iron is the stock I am most bullish on over the next 1 to 2 years, at least based on what I'm seeing at this current moment. Today, we got even more good news from Iron that they have doubled their AI cloud capacity. I made a community post on the channel today giving a simplified explanation of why I like this stock so much, and I highly encourage you to read it and to research this company. I don't know what will happen to the stock in the short term, but I think there's a large amount of upside over the next 1 to 2 years, which is why I'm pounding the table trying to get you to look into this company. I don't want you to miss out. So check out that community post on the channel and consider Iron as a possible long-term investment. This is not financial advice, and I seriously encourage you to research Iron. Now let's get back to NVIDIA. I think NVIDIA still has a lot of runway ahead of it, and I do not think we are anywhere near any bubble bursting type of event. The reality is that the world is still majorly compute constrained, and we are still in the very early days of AI. NVIDIA has the earnings growth and the future projected growth to more than justify its current valuation. As I've discussed in previous videos, this AI revolution is fundamentally different from the dot-com era in multiple key areas. And looking ahead, NVIDIA has multiple massive growth opportunities that are in addition to their massive data center business. These opportunities include sovereign AI, enterprise AI, which Jensen believes is an opportunity worth hundreds of billions of dollars, many AI native startups, physical AI, and quantum computing. NVIDIA is actively establishing themselves as the indispensable foundation of both physical AI and quantum computing. And this does not get enough attention. Over 2 million developers are already building on the NVIDIA robotics stack, and NVIDIA is already working with just about everyone in the quantum industry on NVIDIA's CUDA-Q platform. These massive growth opportunities are not being adequately factored into most analysts' long-term projections. I think most analysts are still substantially underestimating NVIDIA's long-term growth. As for production ramps, Blackwell Ultra is ramping very quickly right now, leading leading to revenue growth acceleration. Rubin is on track to launch in 2026. Then we're expecting Rubin CPX at the end of 2026. Later on, we're expecting the launch of Rubin Ultra in 2027 and Feynman after that in 2028. We have a clear data center product roadmap stretching into 2028, and Jensen believes there will be $3 to $4 trillion of global AI factory build-out between now and 2030. That means Jensen is expecting growing AI demand and an expanding total addressable market underpinning all of this. I don't think we are anywhere near any type of bubble bursting type of event. Plus, remember how I mentioned that NVIDIA has multiple large growth opportunities ahead. It's important to keep in mind that as new use cases are developed, the need for compute from NVIDIA will grow even stronger. With all of this in mind, I seriously think that NVIDIA still has plenty of runway ahead of it, and I think this company will be worth substantially more in future years than it is today. At least that's my view of the situation. Remember to stay calm in this market. Remember to maintain a long-term perspective, and do not make any hasty or irrational decisions. With all of that being said, I hope you all have a great rest of the day, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts about NVIDIA in the comments below. Please leave a like on this video so more people will see it. And while you're down there, please consider subscribing. It's free, and you can always change your mind. Thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video.